If your front dominoes are set up, your big dominoes in the back will fall. But if you don't do it that way, you're gonna have gaps and your back dominoes are not gonna fall because they've taken away those leverage pieces where you have the ability to argue and so on. Presenting and doing the homework and doing the due diligence for a file is really gonna help you in the back end of a file.
What's going on, everybody? Ryan Holliday here with my man Vince Lefton of Your Virtual Adjuster, and we're here at the International Roof Expo 2024, Jeepin It Real. So, Vince, my man,
how you doing? Just
wanted to bring you on today, and let's talk about what you've been up to. You're all over the country with IKO. You're teaching a lot of contractors. What's the focus of the education that you are providing to the industry these days?
So what we're going around with IKO and teaching a lot about is like the changing in the marketplace, right? When it comes to approval rates, squeezing roofers and contractors out of the process, and just kind of how to navigate that process and how to keep an open mind that it's not 10 or 15 years ago or even 5 years ago of how claims operate state to state. Because we're licensed and do this around the country, we can kind of see rumblings in one state and then the results, and we can start to see those in other states, be like, uh-oh, this is the path that state may be going, full scale, half scale, whatever it may be, but that's the route they want to try to go to. So we're just kind of trying to teach roofers around the country about those kind of changes, what things are changing, and how they can better their claim approval rate and how they can make claim process a lot easier for themselves.
What are some of the stark differences, for example, between, let's say, Florida and Ohio, or two states that are completely different in how you need to adjust or the laws that you need to abide by, where a contractor would have to be wary of that? Because I know a lot of contractors, they come from out of state down to Florida whenever we have storms, and they're not familiar with the building codes, or they're not familiar with certain rules in regards to being an active public adjuster. So what are some of the things that you see that companies should be looking out for?
So it all comes down to state. There's obviously stark differences of one state to the next, right? Like a state like Georgia, there's very, very little leverage when it comes to back-end supplementing or back-end negotiating, because there's no statutory fees for attorneys. There's no real appraisals, like there's two-party appraisals. So insurance companies never agree to appraisal. So you really get one swing at that bat, and that's obviously where insurance companies want roofers and contractors and homeowners to really be, is like, get one swing at the bat. And how do you solve that really? And what we're teaching is really, across the board, across the country, is really getting ahead of it, right? Stop throwing things against the wall, hoping they stick, fully document that loss, fully go through that loss, and present it, do the time, do the due diligence front end instead of back end. Because like I like to say is, like, if your dominoes are set up correctly, if your front dominoes are set up, your big dominoes in the back will fall. But if you don't do it that way, you're gonna have gaps and your back dominoes are not gonna fall because they've taken away those leverage pieces where you have the ability to, argue and so on. So presenting and doing the homework and doing the due diligence for a file is really gonna help you in the back end of a file. So that's what we've been going around kind of teaching, how to get ahead of an insurance company instead of always playing, catch up or being behind the eight ball. It's not a place you want to be with an insurance company, especially when they sign the check, right?
Yeah, no, offense over defense. And I love the analogy of the dominoes. I feel like you're not going to have a viral video for sure if those dominoes don't fall correctly, right?
Exactly.
I see those all the time flipping through TikTok, but I'd imagine, coming from another vendor in the space, that what you're teaching isn't all about what you offer as a company, right?
Correct.
A lot of what we've been doing, and myself especially, is teaching contractors how to build their business for scale and or potential acquisition, just setting it up so that it's going to run in a manner of which you can actually retire and sell it and move on, right? And so it's changing mindset. It's not really pitching ink or pitching what we do here as a payments company. It's how can I help you become a better business leader so that your company will grow, and when you have the right mindsets, you'll probably consider a service like ours. Is it similar?
Yeah, and one of the big things I do with my presentation is, like, one of the big takeaways you need to have is have an open mind. Right? You're in this room because you do see change. Don't tell me about your best day, tell me about your worst day. Right? You're here,
that.
Right? You, like, everyone wants to always talk, no one wants to talk about what the average is, what the real, where they're at. They want to talk about, oh yeah, I get X amount per square, right? And it's a crazy big number, whatever it may be. But do you get that day in, day out? No, you got it twice in 3 months, in 6 months, in 2 years, whatever it may be for you. So I really say, like, listen, have an open mind. Open up to things have changed. It's why you're in this room. So if you've taken that step, take the next one and be like, I need to rethink status quo. I need to rethink my process. I literally give them my sauce. Here's what we do. Now, sure, my license gives me abilities, RU policy, things like that. But after that, really and truly, I'm giving you my sauce. This is what we do from the beginning to the end. If you want to do it, great, go do it. Yeah. Implement it. It's difficult, 100%, right? But it's possible, right? Or our service can do it for you. But again, I'm giving you my secret sauce.
I love that. Don't tell me about your best day. Tell me about your worst day. I like to call that contractor math. You know how you see a lot of the memes online or a lot of the videos talking about girl math?
Yeah.
Well, contractor math is exactly that, where contractors will always tell you their best case scenario. If you're trying to help them improve something, oh, well, I already do that, in this amount of time or for this cost. But the reality is the majority of the time they're really not. They're always referencing their best case scenario. But when you're looking at a business, if you're always referencing your best case scenario, you're going to be out of business pretty quickly or, very easily. So one of the things that you got to be cognizant of is really just the hardest points in the business or, the bad days. How do we improve upon the bad days? How do we keep making the average a little bit better? Not just focusing on those major wins or those ones that were super easy, because guess what? There's nothing easy always about running a business.
Yeah, I think obviously to that point, I think you have to focus on what you do best, right? And most roofing companies that we work with in particular, they're really, really good at sales and production, right? The middle, it's a crapshoot. One roofing company may be good, and especially if it comes to like when you have your project managers or salespeople doing your claim process. So if we're two separate salespeople, sure, we have an outline of what we're supposed to do for our company, but you're going to maybe do things a little bit different than I do it. There's no standardized system because we're all individually owning our own company within a company, right? So you want to have those standards and pushing that envelope and understanding that is your average. I have the same system every single time. Setting up those systems, super difficult, right? Especially in sales because it's such high turnover. It's constantly changing. You're constantly wanting to scale or bring people, give people off. Why are you getting them? Because they're not selling. Okay, why are they not selling? Because they're focusing on everything else but sales, right? You're paying a guy to sell, but you have him chasing Jake from State Farm, right?
Yeah.
Right? You have him, meeting adjusters. That's not making him money. That's servicing a sale he's already been part of.
Yeah,
he's not
driving out to pick up checks.
He knocked that door. He sold that roof. That homeowner. Why are we continuing to do that process? Right. Put your best player in the best position to win.
Yeah.
Right. Don't put your best player making the play. Right. Getting his at bat, but then also like sweeping up after the game or before the game instead of getting better, and putting him in a place where he can win. That's really where you should be putting your salespeople, is in a place where they can win and focus on win. And also one thing that happens a lot of times is salesmen and roofing are really hampered by their success when it comes to claims. Why? If I sign 20 files month 1, right? Month 2, I have to service 20 files. If I'm servicing 20 files, I'm not going to sign 20 the next month.
Exactly.
So now who's winning here?
Yeah.
Right? Is the owner winning?
Touchdown all the time.
Correct. Yeah. Is the owner winning? No, the owner's not winning. He believes he's winning because his overhead's lower because he's paying commissions. But at the same time, his sales are dropped 50%.
Yeah, he's not making as much money.
Correct. So now he needs more people to get the same output, which means more management to get the same output, which means higher overhead, so on and so forth. So yeah. Put my thing for roofing companies when I'm teaching them is open your mind to change, understand and believe there's change. Don't tell me about your best day. Tell me about your worst day. But most importantly, put your people in a place where they can win, right? And they're not winning most of the time.
I love it. Put your people in a place they can win. So again, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
My man Vince Lefton here at International Roofing Expo 2024. Check them out. Your Virtual Adjuster. How does everybody get in touch with you, man? Yeah, so yourvirtualadjuster.com. Reach out. We'll do a live demo. Walk them through the process. If it's a fit for your company, great. If it's not, I understand. It's not for everyone. It's really for a company that wants to scale and grow. And I'm not trying to be in a negative way at all, but it's really for a company that wants to scale and grow and look a little bit outside of the picture of what the next roofer is doing. You want to be ahead of things, start to think a little bit differently. Awesome. So appreciate it, bro. Jeepin It Real.